am fantasy and paranormal romance author Leslye Penelope, and welcome to My Imaginary Friends, a look behind the scenes of an author mapping the worlds in my head and making them a reality. Hello, friends. Today is Saturday, May 10th, 2025, and this is episode 251 of My Imaginary Friends. I'm Leslye. As a reminder, you can sign up for the Footnotes newsletter. It includes show notes for the episodes, as well as inspiration, strategies, and ideas to help you grow as a writer and as a creative. And that's at myimaginaryfriends.net/footnotes. You can choose to become an imaginary best friend for a few dollars a month and get access to premium posts, discounts on my courses, and other goodies. And we are doing a craft book club over at the Footnotes newsletter. We are currently reading John Truby's The Anatomy of Story, which is pretty interesting, breaking it down. I've got my issues with that book, but it's what we're doing. We have a live book club, so head over there if you are interested in that. This week's best thing, I met my goal for the campaign for the Bliss Wars special edition omnibus hardcover edition. So we're definitely making them. Everyone who's ordered them so far will definitely be getting them. And it's still open for another 9 days. So I had this minimum goal of like the financial, I'm doing it with 48-hour books, which is one of the only places in this country, in the United States, where you can get the features that I wanted. With all this tariff drama, I didn't want to do China anyway. A lot of people get their books printed in China because it's a lot cheaper. And there's Book Vault, but they're in England. And anyway, so I had this minimum, and I'm only doing this one print run. So anything over that is, people can still get books, obviously, but that was the minimum I needed to actually print them. They came out so pretty. I've got my proof. I did go ahead and order the proof so I could show it off, the edges and the foil, and I'm so happy. Like I hadn't been hot about doing some kind of special edition because of the amount of work that I knew it would be, but I'm really glad I did. And I don't know when, I will be self-publishing other books in the future. The Obsidian Curse, which is my new novella that comes out on June 12th, will have a hardcover edition. It has printed edges, nothing special on the cover, and that's part of the shared world. So everybody who is doing the Lunaterra shared world is going to be doing a hardcover of those novellas with printed edges. But for, a whole trilogy to get like a really thick hardcover book, it's been cool. It's been an interesting process. It's been a lot of learning for me because I've obviously never done this before. And I do hope I can do it again with other books. Right now, like Bliss Wars, this trilogy, the other self-published books that are still self-published are the Angelborn series, which, I got two cats fighting in the background, which you might or might not hear. Angelborn has not really been in print. I did actually do a very, very tiny print run back in the day. So Angelborn and Angelfall, my paranormal romance, it's a duology at the moment. And they're short. They're like 45,000 words each. And I do have like proof copies. I think I might have sold a handful of print copies because I did get a print book of Angelborn made back in the day. I think I only sold it live a few. I don't even remember. I have like one or two copies. So I've considered putting those, but they're so old and I don't know if there's a point in that. So in the future, I will be writing more self-published books and putting them in print. And so this week's best thing is the Bliss Wars, still available. As I'm recording this, it's available for 7 more days, I believe, in terms of the pre-order at the current price. Depending on how many books are ordered by the end of the campaign date, that will determine how many I actually buy. And I don't want to have a lot here that I'm not selling. So to guarantee your copy, you have to get it by a certain date. But it's gone really well. I'm really pleased with it. I've been posting. And so Inez Johnson, my friend who's done several Kickstarters, is like, you have to post every day. And I'm like, there's absolutely no way that I can post every day. Like, I'm certainly not doing a newsletter every day. I'm doing one every week, which feels like a lot. And to anyone who's on my Leslye Penelope newsletter, it was brought to my attention that it's sending out like double messages to basically everybody, which it should not be doing. So I'm going to stop that. But I have been doing a weekly newsletter. I've been doing more social media posting and trying to talk about it a lot more than usual, which surprise, surprise, it actually works. Like talking about stuff more than not at all allows people to know that stuff exists. And you always feel like, for those of us who do not like to market, we feel like we are bothering people, or that, oh my goodness, they're going to see me all the time and they're going to hate seeing it and they're going to be so annoyed. But like in reality, people just keep moving on. Like there's a writer friend of mine who's been posting a lot on Instagram. I actually had to mute her because I'm like, I don't know what this is. I'm tired of seeing this, but I don't feel any type of way other than slight annoyance. And I will unmute her when she's done with whatever this is happening that she's doing, because I'm not the target audience. But like, I don't have any long-lasting negative feelings about her marketing. And she's not even marketing a product. She's just posting a lot about things that I don't understand and don't care about. So my fear about posting too much, I understand, is my issue. And there's a philosophy of marketing that is like, you are doing the people who want this thing, who don't know that it exists, you're doing them a favor by telling them that it exists. You are actually helping them because, they might want this. And if they don't know about it, they will have missed out, and they might feel worse about that than the fact that you were posting every day, every other day, 3 times a week, whatever it is. So that is that. So I'm really excited about that. The other best thing this week is inspiration. So right now, my current writing situation is that I actually just got the final edits on The Obsidian Curse, which is the book that's coming out in June. My novel is with my editor December 32nd, which is my 1999 Y2K novel. It is currently with my editor at Orbit. And so that will be a few weeks, maybe a couple of months before I get that back. So I have been, as I mentioned in this week's Leslye Penelope newsletter, I've been resting. I've been doing a lot of marketing, a lot of admin stuff in the past couple of weeks, ready to gear back into marketing, but I needed a break. I mean, back into writing, but I needed a break because I had been writing nonstop for months and months and months. And I wrote 2 books back to back, and it was a lot. And I was feeling a little crispy around the edges. So I'm very grateful for this few weeks of rest that I have taken. I felt rejuvenated. But I've had this, I'm always trying to work on the next project. This idea of, I want to say entropy. Entropy is not the word. What is that word? Inertia. The object at rest stays at rest, and object in motion stays in motion. I try to stay in motion. So I try to stay writing as much as possible, but it does lead to burnout. Hey, Deb, I know it's been a little while. I've been very inconsistent. I'm thinking of saying, oh, this is my occasional podcast, but I'm doing it. And so I've had this idea for this witch book. I worked on it a lot last year. I was looking at my file folder for it, and 2024 from January. I think I was working on it while I was waiting for edits on Daughter of the Merciful Deep or something. I don't remember. I have to go back and look at the timeline. But it's been a really long time. I had a whole proposal kind of ready. Well, not proposal, but I worked on the plot a lot. I talked to my agent about it. My agent was like, this is really similar to this other book you're writing. And I did not see it at all. And then when he said that, I did see it. So basically, I'm back to the drawing board. I have an idea. I have this spark, this seed of an idea for a book. I have sort of a magic system. I did not have a plot. I did not have characters. I mean, I was developing those and kind of thinking of one thing and then kind of coming back to the drawing board and thinking of something else and coming back to the drawing board. And it's been several months since I've worked on it at all while I was working on these other books. And this is going to be the next full-length, traditionally published book that I'm going to at least try to get traditionally published. So I had been in this sort of rest period. I'm not actively working on it, but it's in the back of my mind, as it's been in the back of my mind for years. But it knows, like this idea knows it's going to be next in the forefront. So I find that's when things start to happen. I just have to allow them to happen. So I wanted to talk a little bit about inspiration because, there's different writing advice. It's like, plumbers don't have to be inspired to go to work. Computer programmers don't have to be inspired. Why should artists have to be inspired? And it's kind of a false comparison. Like I do sit down and do the work when I'm scheduled to, regularly, because that's the only way that things happen. But you can't completely discount inspiration. When I've tried to just push a book through, to just write some beats and write a story, it does not work well. It's like I can get something on the page, and then At the point where I usually get stuck, the stuckness is like worse, or it's harder to climb out of, or I have to do more rewriting. And it keeps me going, but it's not a good feeling. So I've been, had this idea at the back of my mind, and I was talking with my brother about it. And he's a really good person to bounce ideas off of. And so we were kind of going through like different scenarios. And then last night, as I was halfway like falling asleep on the couch after watching TV, I just got like a bunch of ideas. And so I was dictating into my phone, half asleep. And maybe it was at that like sort of twilight period where your creativity is enhanced. And that's why it happened. And I was also kind of doing research. So with the last two full-length novels, at least the last two traditionally published ones, with The Art of the Merciful Deep and The Monsters We Defy, they were both historical fantasy, and they were both based on something real. I found a real-life character or situation, or multiple characters or situations that I was very interested in, that I had a lot of questions about, that I was diving into from a fictionalized fantasy lens. And that helped ground me. And I was looking for something in this new story idea to ground me, to be that anchor of like a real life situation. And I kind of had one. The origins of this idea is a real thing, but I didn't have a way in. Deb says, I'm still trying to figure out my female main character's why and her goals. Yeah, that's really important, because on these other paths, like I had like 3 or 4, maybe even 5 different ways I was approaching the story. And when I've got 5 different ways of approaching the story, I know it's probably time to step back, because it's hard to evaluate them all. But figuring out the why and the goals, I mean, yeah, I can't move forward unless I do that either. And sometimes when I'm spinning my wheels about that stuff, if it's possible to take a break, fill the well, like all of that stuff. Now, my breaks are sort of dependent on what else I'm doing. It's like, is this a break because I have to, I'm going to have to go finish these when I get edits back on December 32nd. I'm going to have to go refocus on that. And then I'll be free to completely focus on this. But I think I found the grounding and the way in. And it's like at the beginning, when you're inspired for an idea, you have this like story seed, and it could go a million different ways. Like for Deb, your character, there's probably a bunch of different whys, a bunch of different goals this character could have. And you could pick one, but for me, when I try to just like pick one at random, or it kind of feels okay, if I don't have like a good reason for it, I tend to get stuck. And so I think that's why my process kind of has evolved the way it has, where I brainstorm, I work on it, I research, I try to figure out which one means something. Like, and some of it is intuition, some of it is like it's that balance between, okay, this feels right, and maybe it's almost all intuition. Like what else? I was gonna say it's intuition, like the research goes into it, but you do a lot of work and then you have a feeling like, oh, this is it. Like that little light bulb pops up, right? And I think that is intuition. Um, so I had a light bulb moment last night around midnight, and I was dictating a bunch of notes. I found some JSTOR articles. Like I was on my phone on the couch. My laptop was like a foot away, but I didn't have the energy to get onto it. So I was logging into JSTOR, which is, if you don't know, it's like a database of scholarly articles and journals and things, because I had done a Google search and come up and found this article, and I wanted to save it on JSTOR so I could read it later when I'm actually on my computer. And it just started unfolding, and yeah, it's not like clear. It's still this is last night, so it's very early stages, but I had that feeling like, okay, this feels right after, I don't know, a year and a half, mostly not working on it, but of just thinking like, what is this? It was always in the back of my mind, like, what kind of story is this? I was kind of going back and forth, where is this our world or is it a magical world? And I couldn't figure out which one I wanted to do. There are really good reasons to do for both paths. But I think I'm going to do our world again, and sort of like a hidden magical society, which has been done a lot, but I had a kind of a But in all magical worlds, obviously, I've been done a lot too. So I'm always like, okay, what is the story that only I can tell, that only I can write? And how do I connect it to things that I'm interested in, things that I want to say? And in the craft book that we're reading for the craft book club, The Anatomy of Story, he talks a lot about theme, and he's a very theme first. His philosophy is very theme first, which, you know, everyone is entitled to their own way of doing things. I'm not. Occasionally, I'm theme first. I think that with Daughter of the Merciful Deep, I knew the theme. I knew I was doing with a theme of guilt, and that came from the real life character that inspired my main character. Um, and I had been searching for the theme, and I'm still not 100% clear, but I feel like I'm on the path. Deb says, I'm going to do some mind mapping. I have pieces, but I can't see how they fit yet. Exactly. Yeah. Mind mapping is a great thing. I do mind mapping. I throw everything at the wall. So right now I'm still in like the brainstorming listing stage. And then when I do it often, it'll be like, okay, list, then map and see how they connect and see what overlaps. And just do a lot of ideating. I'm number one intellection in my strengths, so I have to do a lot of thinking about it. The other thing is that, like that Paulo Coelho quote, something about the universe conspires to help you. It's like, I know that when I'm in this stage with every other book has happened, when I get to that light bulb moment, then I'm seeing things everywhere that are contributing, and I'm making notes everywhere. And even in the less than 12 hours since this has happened, I feel like that's already starting. Like even last night as I was searching, I was like, oh, this is good and this is good. And sometimes that can, it's interesting. I have another video on my YouTube about research. What was it on? It's connected to the Story Bible thing in Notion. It was like a research template in Notion for tracking your research. And someone in the comments asked me to do a Notion template for that. And it's on my list. I'm getting to it. But it's very easy to create if you're into Notion. Anyway, I have a Notion template for my research for this project that since I'd been, thinking about it for a year and a half. Let's see when the first entry was. Yeah, January 2024 is the first entry. So it's not huge, but it's a lot of stuff on there that I've been collecting during those pockets of time when I've been working on the story. And to connect it to the whole Paulo Coelho thing, the universe conspiring to help you, like you're going to see things in the world that you're going to watch TV, listen to radio, podcasts, and be like, ooh, idea. And I try to collect those and gather them. And some of them are just wildly off base. Like if I go back to the one for Daughter of the Merciful Deep, which is very long and intense because I worked on that for a couple of years. A lot of those ideas did not end up in the book. They took me down paths that I didn't end up, or that didn't end up being relevant, but that's the journey, right? Like you go through those places and, oh, no, this isn't right. Let me go back over here. And oh, maybe this isn't right. Or I'll pick this one little thing. And then it's this winding, circuitous path that is fascinating to me. I think the whole writing process is fascinating. My understanding how I work, even, this will be my 17th or 18th book. Still trying to figure out how I work, how I do this, how I can make it a little easier next time, or techniques that I can use when I get stuck. It's so much fun. I'm in the fun stage. I think my favorite parts are this part, like the planning, plotting, and then the revision and polishing. I'm going to have to barrel my way through that first draft in some way when I get there, which will be not right now. I don't know when that will be. So that's what I wanted to come on and talk about. Super excited to be inspired and to be on the journey of starting a new book. Like the fresh newness. I'm still in like, oh, what could this be? It could be anything. It could be everything. I mean, it can't be everything, but like, I don't know what it could be yet. I'm super excited about it. Other announcements. Yeah, Lunaterra is coming. So June 12th, my book is The Obsidian Curse. Got the edits back. I will be this weekend reviewing that. I'm doing an audiobook. This is the first audiobook that I am producing. I am not selling my rights. I have hired narrators, and this is kind of another experiment. Like, it's got a little bit scary, but it's a short book. It's 25,000 words. Audiobooks are very expensive to produce. So I figured let's try it with something short, go through the process, see how it goes. I'm going to try to get the audiobook released as close as possible to the date. I decided to do it a little bit late, so I don't think it's possible to do the exact same date, but I'm trying for like 2 weeks, maybe, after the ebook and the print books come out. So that will be an adventure in audiobook production, I guess. I mean, I'm not, well, I'll call it production. I don't know what you call it, because I'm just going to be, I hired them, they're doing it, and I'm going to be proofing it, obviously listening to it and putting it up. Deb says, I'm in my audiobook era. I have really embraced listening to fiction books in audio. I rejected it. I've always been, for a long time, I've done nonfiction books. But in the past 2 years, I think because as my eyes get older and like more and more tired, it's just like, I don't feel like reading that with my eyes. Is there an audiobook, please? So I do a lot of Libby. I obviously have Audible, and I'm in multiple libraries, so I can get library systems to get books, and I check them all. So yes, audiobooks are wonderful, and I would love for every book that I do in the future, all my indie books, to have audiobooks. I would like to commit to that because it's just so convenient, and the accessibility of it all and all of that. And I've gotten into graphic audio. I listened to, so that's the kind of full cast recording, which I didn't think I would like, but I started it with Ilona Andrews' Innkeeper series. Has some great graphic audio, like full cast recordings. And then I did the Murderbot. I've been reading the Murderbot series, which has a great full cast recording. So that's really cool. Yeah. The other thing that I've been working on this week, as part of my like rest away from writing, is my author website business. So I'm starting to offer website audits for author websites. And my author website business is theauthor.digital. So if you are interested in having, well, if you need a new website, I can do those too. But if you have a website that is older and you would like, I'm a developer. I also do design, but like coding is my first language and all the technical stuff. So I will be reviewing people's websites and giving them a report card, scorecard, things of ways to improve it, check the security, check, broken links, search engine optimization, content design, things like that. So that I've been building out that website, and that link will be in the show notes if you're interested in such things. So that's kind of been my life so far. I do want to give a shout out to a couple of people. Author Stephanie Burgess reached out to me with issue with my newsletter, which I did not realize, so I'm very grateful to her. I read her novella. I meant to what was it called? It's really good. I wanted to recommend it. I'm looking it up right now. But yeah, it's always cool when people tell you, hey, this isn't quite working the way you think it is, because if you don't know, like I'm that person because I'm a web developer. And I'm very appreciative. So A Marriage of Undead Convenience. I might have talked about this before. I don't remember. Maybe I talked about it on the Ink and Magic podcast. That's a really, it's short and sweet. It's about a sort of marriage of convenience between a vampire and a woman. And I read it a little while ago. That was cool. So yes, the campaign for Bliss Wars ends, I think, next week. Oh, so pretty. And then I have a book coming out in a month, and I'll be back to writing a new novel very soon. Those are my updates. That is all the news that's fit to print. And that is it for me for this week. I make no promises about when I will return, but I will return at some point. And I hope that you have a wonderful week. For episode show notes and to sign up for the Footnotes newsletter and get them in your inbox, go to myimaginaryfriends.net. You can subscribe to this podcast wherever you get your podcasts and watch the video episodes on YouTube where I record them live. And if you would like to rate and review the show, I would appreciate it on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. And happy writing. I hope that you will have a great May, and I'll talk to you next time. Bye.